This is the iPad Air 2. It's been released back in 2014. It was Apple's first iPad to ditch the mute switch and go full laminated display. Let's get our tools ready. I've got my heat gun, suction cup, plastic picks, no metal, and we're starting at the top edge. I'm heating it at around 117 degrees Celsius. You can go a bit lower if you're nervous, just don't roast the screen or the components underneath. Once it's warm, I use a suction cup to lift the glass just enough to slide in a plastic pick. Then I work my way around the edges. Again, no metal, it'll scrape the black coating off of the screen and can crack the glass. So keep heating and keep moving. Now, quick heads up, the LCD and the digitizer on this model, they are fused together. So if you push your pick too deep, you'll split them, and that's game over for the display. Okay, now screen's lifted. You want to open it from the top because the connectors are down at the bottom right. Lift gently. First thing I do is I unscrew the battery connector and slide a plastic pick between the board and the battery to cut the power. Then we've got 3 screws holding down the shield for the LCD and the digitizer connectors. Pop those off carefully and don't rush it. This iPad's clearly been opened before, as you can see here. Someone tried replacing the dock connector and yeah, not great. The solder joints are weak. I'm honestly surprised it still works. The screen has 3 cables, LCD, digitizer, and a home button. You can replace the button, but you lose Touch ID. Apple doesn't let you keep that unless it's the original. Now we're removing the top shield, 4 screws underneath are connectors for the cameras and the headphone jack. Some parts are glued down, so I'm adding a bit of heat to loosen things up. Carefully remove the antennas and the surrounding screws. Next up, dock connector. This thing is soldered directly to the mainboard, so to get the board out, we need to remove the 4 screws holding the dock to the frame. 2 speakers are also tied into this dock, and this iPad didn't even have the speakers connected. Heating the underside now to loosen the glue holding down the mainboard. I'm using a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to speed things up. Both the battery and the board are glued in tight, so patience is key. I apply alcohol around the edges and let it sit for a little bit. Okay, I think it's loose, time to remove the board. I'm going in with a plastic wheel tool, super thin, makes it easier to slide underneath. You don't really need alcohol here if you've got heat. Just make sure you're heating from the back not directly on the board. Voila, main board is out. Here's a close-up, dock connector at the bottom, camera and audio connectors up top. With the board out of the way, we can finally remove the battery. Same deal, heat or alcohol, whatever you've got. Work around the edges with plastic tools. Don't bend the battery. You can actually remove it without fully taking out the board. Just lift it slightly and be careful not to damage the cables or the dock. Last few bits. The top audio jack comes out with a few screws and a little heat. We're leaving the antennas and bottom speakers in place. On the right side, you've got the rear camera. It's held with a silicone type glue. I usually go in with an X-Acto knife, clean up the glue and gently wiggle the camera out. Don't force it, you'll wreck the internals. And that's it, iPad Air 2. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing, liking, or dropping a comment.